Mick Resistor. Okay, Jimmy, this is a question for you. And they're asking, was there any evidence from, I remember Jimmy saying he was waiting for evidence from YouTube that vaccines slow transmission of COVID. Did you ever get any of that info? Back to Jimmy.
You could come to me. No, they never. I was never provided with any links to any science that they use over at YouTube. I was told that YouTube has their own scientists. That's what I was told. And I was told I better say that the vaccines reduce the spread and the contraction of the virus. I better say that or they're going to take my channel down. So that's why I say that. So I have to say that. So I say that because that's the YouTube science. But no, thanks for the question. No, I have never been provided. In fact, I provided them. So when they first came to me, they said I was in trouble because I was telling people that the vaccines didn't stop transmission. That's 100% correct is what I said back to them. And they said, no, but it reduces it. And I'm like, well, that wasn't the point I was making. I was making the point that it doesn't stop the transmission. And they said, yeah, but you have to say it reduces it. And I'm like, because they go, you have to provide context. And I'm like, but that's not what I go, okay, so from now on, I'll say that. So I went and I looked up the science. And at the FDA's own website, it says they don't know if it stops transmission, but they hope it does. That was literally what it said when YouTube, I'm sure it still says that. That's what it said at the FDA November 21st of 2021. That's what it said at the FDA's own website, that they didn't know. Other vaccines do slow transmission of viruses, but they don't have any data yet on this, and they hope it does. But we know for sure it doesn't stop. So that's the point I was making. What we knew for sure was that the vaccine didn't stop transmission, but they said, so when I sent them that from the FDA doesn't even say it reduces, or so they say it hopes. So then YouTube said, oh, that's not what we meant. They go, we meant, you kept saying that it won't stop you from contracting it when it does reduce you from contracting it. And I go, but that's not what the fuck you guys said. That's how, and they're like, oh, that's what we meant. And so after I prevented them with the science, they changed the thing. So to me, it sounds like YouTube gets outside pressure from organizations, which we know they do for a fact because we've reported it here. And so that's what I think happened, is that I crossed the wrong person somewhere at some point, and they told YouTube, you better fucking do something to this guy. And so they did. And that was the craziest thing, that I'm like, no, here's the actual science from the FDA. They go, oh, okay, yeah, that's not it. It's something else. Go ahead.
The craziest part is, even from the start of when they approach you, they weren't even trying to fact check you. They were just trying to context check you.
Context. That's right. They were context checking me. I wasn't wrong on the facts, because that is a fact. Yeah. It is a fact that and everyone knows this as a fact now, that the vaccines do not stop transmission of the virus. That's a fact. Now YouTube, I have to say that they do, according to YouTube's guidelines, they do slow the spread, the transmission, and they do slow the contraction. So there you go. I told you all the science around it, so you know how crazy it is, the situation I'm in. So it's tough broadcasting on YouTube and trying to do factual, because oftentimes the CDC, the FDA, and what Fauci is saying, or what the NIH is saying, when you hear them speak, they're either wrong or they're lying. And so it's like, you're not allowed on YouTube to actually do that, to say they're lying or contradict them over COVID. You're allowed to contradict them over other things. But COVID and vaccines for sure is when they get real. You can't. But we've already showed you that Fauci's been a liar his whole life. And he's lied about COVID, at least 4 huge lies about COVID, and then all the other little ones.